Have you ever opened a hospital bill so big it felt like a punch to the gut? The kind that makes you wonder if you'll ever climb out from under it. That's the reality for millions of us across America. But today, I'm here to tell you about folks who stared down that mountain of medical debt and found a way to the other side. These are stories of regular people moms, dads, workers, dreamers who fought through the fear, the shame, and the endless paperwork to reclaim their lives. So grab your coffee, maybe that chipped mug you love from the local diner. Settle into that recliner with the dog curled up nearby. Or picture yourself on a porch swing with the crickets chirping in the summer dusk. Let's dive into these journeys of recovery, set right here in the heart of America, where resilience grows like wildflowers along a country road. First up, meet a single mom from Tucson, Arizona, who thought her life was over when a medical bill landed like a monsoon storm. It was 2016, and she just brought her newborn daughter home, the hospital room still fresh in her mind. Blue balloons bobbing in the corner, her husband snapping photos on an old flip phone, the faint scent of flowers from neighbors mixing with that sterile hospital smell. She worked at a call center, answering phones in a cubicle lined with family photos and a cactus-shaped stress ball. Her insurance sounded decent until the bill arrived. $8,000, even after coverage kicked in. Can you imagine? You're barely sleeping, learning how to change diapers in the dark, and now this. She shoved the bill in a kitchen drawer, right next to the takeout menus and expired coupons. Because who has time for that when you're up at 3 a.m. with a crying baby? Life kept moving, the way it does in those desert suburbs where the sun bakes the blacktop and kids ride bikes past saguaro cacti. She juggled work, playdates, and soccer practices, the kind where parents cheer from folding chairs and share coolers of Gatorade. The bill faded into the background, like the hum of cicadas on a July night. No collection calls, no red-stamped letters, just silence, which felt like a small mercy. But in 2024, a new envelope showed up in her mailbox, the kind that makes your heart skip. She tore it open, expecting the worst. Instead, it was a miracle in black and white. Your debt has been paid in full. A nonprofit called RIP Medical Debt had bought her bill for pennies on the dollar and wiped it clean. She stood there in her kitchen, the one with the chipped Formica counter and a fridge covered in her daughter's drawings, and cried like she hadn't since her wedding day. I thought it was a scam, she says now, laughing through tears. Pinched myself like I was in some cheesy movie, but it was real. $0 owed. That moment changed everything. It was like a weight lifted, the kind that lets you breathe deep for the first time in years. She wrote her story for the nonprofit's website, sharing how that one act of kindness felt like a desert rain, sudden, life-giving, washing away the dust. Now, she's paying it forward, tucking a few bucks from her diner tips into a jar for her daughter's college fund. Maybe Arizona State, she dreams, where the sun sets orange over the mountains. She's volunteering at a women's shelter, too, helping other moms navigate the system, teaching them to check for hospital charity programs or dispute billing errors. It's not just about the money, she says. It's about feeling human again, like you're not just a number on a bill. Out in Tucson, where the stars burn bright against the night sky, she's proof that a second chance can spark a whole new chapter. Now let's head to Philadelphia, where the city's pulse beats through cracked sidewalks and cheesesteak joints, to meet a journalist who faced a $500,000 medical debt monster. Picture her in a tiny apartment off South Street, the kind with a fire escape where you can hear street musicians banging on buckets below. She was a single mom, writing freelance pieces about mental health and culture, her laptop glowing late into the night while her kids slept. But her own health was a house of cards, hospital stays, specialists, tests that piled up faster than snow in a Philly winter. $500,000 in debt. Yeah, you heard that right. It's the kind of number that makes you want to crawl under the covers and never come out. I was treading water in a storm, she says, her voice steady now, but carrying the weight of those years. Bills coming faster than paychecks. Collection calls interrupting dinner. Spaghetti nights with the kids. Sauce splattered on paper plates. Her recovery wasn't one big win, but a patchwork of hard-fought steps. She started with therapy, the kind where you sit in a cozy office with a box of tissues and unpack the fear like it's an old suitcase from your parents' attic. She haggled with hospitals, spending hours on the phone negotiating bills like she was bartering for produce at Reading Terminal Market. Some got written off as charity care. Hospitals have those programs, but you've got to dig for them like buried treasure. Others she paid in brutal installments, picking up side gigs like transcribing podcasts at 2 a.m., her eyes burning, but her heart set on freedom. The real shift came when she turned her pain into purpose, launching a podcast called To Be Clear, Raw Stories about surviving life's curveballs. Listeners became patrons, their small donations adding up like coins in a wishing well. Then, a remote job with real benefits, health insurance that covered checkups, dental for her kids' braces. By early 2023, she posted online, her words a battle cry. Cleared all my medical debt. Financially stable. Free. The replies poured in, strangers cheering like it was the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Today, she's walking those Philly streets with her head high, grabbing soft pretzels from vendors without checking her bank balance first. She speaks at community centers, sharing how debt's mental toll, the anxiety, the shame, can be as heavy as the dollars. Recovery's messy, she says, sipping tea from a mug that screams Philly tough. Like a good cheesesteak, it's greasy, overstuffed, but so damn worth it when you take that first bite. Her story's a lifeline for anyone drowning in explanation of benefits forms, those cryptic papers that follow every claim. It shows therapy, negotiation, and a hustle like selling homemade pies at a church bake sale can stitch a life back together. Let's roll out to New Mexico, where the desert stretches wide and the sky feels like it could swallow you whole. There's a jeweler there, working in a shop near Albuquerque, his hands rough from years of shaping silver and turquoise. He learned the trade from his dad, who started the business with nothing but a loop and a dream. The shop was his heart, wedding bands for ranchers, daughters, bolo ties for rodeo champs, the air thick with solder, and the faint scent of sagebrush drifting in from the open door. But in his 50s, his health crashed like a sudden sandstorm, surgeries piling up, bills hitting $200,000, a shadow over his life darker than the Sangre de Cristo Mountains at dusk. He sold tools to cover copays, skipped his own meds to afford his wife, and lay awake listening to coyotes, wondering if the shop his dad built would crumble. His comeback was a masterclass in grit. He found the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that federal outfit that's like a sheriff riding into a dusty town to take on crooked debt collectors. Some of his bills were wrong coding errors that turned a $500 procedure into a $5,000 nightmare. With advocates' help, he disputed them, letters flying back and forth like tumbleweeds. Chunks of debt vanished, others got slashed through hospital charity care. Then, in a moment that felt straight out of a Western, his story got picked up at a White House event, spotlighted alongside a big shot director. Standing there in a crisp button-down, his family watching proud, he felt the weight lift. It wasn't just the money, he says, his voice rough as gravel. It was the dignity, like clearing your name after the town thought you were done. Now, he's back in the shop, the bell jingling as tourists browse Zia sun pendants. He mentors young jewelers, teaching them not just how to set a stone, but how to fight when the system plays dirty. He keeps an emergency fund in a coffee can under the counter, right next to the polishing cloths. Out here, we know storms pass, he chuckles. You rebuild stronger. Down in Georgia, where peach orchards bloom and Friday nights light up with high school football, there's a dad of 4 who thought he'd lost everything. He was the family rock, up before dawn hauling produce in a beat-up truck down pine-lined roads, coming home to fried chicken and collared for his kids. But heart problems hit hard, ER visits, cardiologist appointments, $20,000 in bills that gnawed at him like termites in an old barn. I was choosing between pills and pork chops, he says, his southern drawl thick as sweet tea. Didn't want the kids knowing Dad was scared. Then, one day, a letter arrived, debt abolished, paid off by strangers through undue medical debt, a group that's forgiven billions for millions of families. It was like finding a $20 bill in your work jeans, he says, laughing. He framed that letter, right there on the mantle, next to his kids' school photos and his old leather jacket. Now he's back to full shifts, coaching peewee soccer on fields wet with morning dew, even planting a garden, tomatoes red as a Georgia sunset. He mentors other dads at church, showing them how to spot assistance programs before the bills pile up. And there's a writer from San Diego, where the Pacific crashes like a standing ovation, and the air smells of salt and eucalyptus. Chronic illness left her with $50,000 in debt, a beast that devoured her freelance life, articles and editing gigs, barely covering the basics. Date nights became ramen, Vacations just YouTube walks along the boardwalk. It ate us alive, she wrote, raw as a fresh wound. But she fought back, getting an IRS offer in compromise to cut a tax lien to a fraction. She scoured forums, trading tips like recipes at a potluck. Call this number, dispute that charge. Her public writing connected her with readers who became allies, and slowly, the debt shrank. Today, she's hiking Torrey Pines, notebook in hand, chasing sunsets that paint the ocean gold. That first paycheck without a garnishment tastes like freedom, she says, grinning over kombucha on her patio. These stories from Arizona's deserts to Philly's streets, New Mexico's shops to Georgia's orchards, and California's shores are the heartbeat of America. They're about moms and dads, hustlers and dreamers, fighting through red tape jungles and finding light. Some got help from nonprofits like Undo Medical Debt, wiping out billions for folks like you and me. Others leaned on agencies like the CFPB, disputing errors that inflate bills like bad balloons. Some built side hustles, negotiated hard, or found therapy to carry the emotional load. But they all leaned on community, neighbors dropping off casseroles, strangers donating to crowdfunding, friends sharing know-how over backyard beers. If you're staring down your own stack of bills, listen up. You're not alone. Call your hospital, ask about charity care. Check out Undo Medical Debt's site to see if you qualify. Dispute errors with the CFPB. They've got your back. And don't skip the mental health piece. Talk to someone, because shame's heavier than any dollar sign. These folks, our Tucson mom, our Philly writer, our New Mexico jeweler, our Georgia dad, our San Diego dreamer, they're proof you can rebuild. Drop your story below. Are you fighting medical debt? Beaten it? Let's share tips like tailgate recipes before a Saturday game. Until next time, keep pushing, keep hopping, and take care of each other out there. Peace.